Greetings and welcome back to Wild Mouse. I, of course, am your host, Taylor Bartle. And today we've got an exciting episode because we've got a new ride, we've got a new park, and we have a brand new guest. Please welcome to the show, indie wrestler Shawn Phoenix.
How's it going? Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming. And you're from Pittsburgh. And so, of course, I knew as soon as I had someone from Pittsburgh on this, John, I knew that Yins was going to pick Kennywood.
I was wondering where you were going with that. In my defense, we don't say John in Pittsburgh. It's more of like a Philly, New Jersey thing. I actually didn't hear that until I was like in my 20s. I was playing with somebody on Xbox and they said John. I'm like, the hell is that? But yeah, so that's how like not used it is in Pittsburgh, that I went 20 years without ever hearing that. But yeah, well, I'll give you props for Yins.
Yeah, my girlfriend's whole family is from Philly, and they say it like sarcastically. I don't think I've ever heard them say John in a legitimate, earnest way.
If my name was John and I lived in Philly, you bet I would say it all the time.
I tried to get someone to explain to me. I'm like, what does it mean? And they're just like, it means literally anything.
Yeah, I don't understand. At least Yins kind of has a basis in reality, in my opinion. Like it stems from you guys, and I don't know. That makes sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to a lot of other people, but I can see how that got translated over time to Yins.
I mean, it's basically
maybe
like
you
y'all,
youngins.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's the part of the episode on Pittsburgh dialect.
There's a lot more. We got Nat, we got Slippy, we got Crick, we got so many things. Thankfully, like I don't have like a really, in my opinion, I don't use a lot of that slang. Like I'll use Yins and maybe Nat every now and then, but I know a lot of people that have really strong Pittsburgh accents, and it's like, man, didn't your parents teach you any better? Nat is like, can you go run to the store and grab me some things, Nat? Just N''AT and that.
Oh, okay. And yeah. Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know that we have any kind of real dialect in Seattle. I'm sure we probably do, but it's probably so ingrained in me that I don't even realize I say it.
Right.
I've had people tell me, they're like, oh yeah, you have a Pacific Northwest accent. I'm like, what the fuck is a Pacific Northwest accent?
I could definitely hear that, and I think listening to the one episode I listened to, I think I messaged you and like, you definitely remind me of Scott, our late friend Scott Henson. I don't know. I also hear, I also hear Daniel Makabe as well with your speaking, and I've never really attributed that as a Pacific Northwest thing, but like now that you've brought it to my attention, it's like, yeah, you know what, that definitely is the dialect there.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't even know that was a thing. But he's Canadian, so he's got that whole Canadian thing going on. But
well, so is Scott.
Okay.
Well, so yeah, before he passed, yeah. But I mean, it's close enough, right? Only like what, 3 hours?
Yeah, we're basically South Canada.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, today we're going to be talking about Kennywood, which I have said on the show before, but just to reiterate, unlike what I thought for the longest time, is not a version of Dollywood with Kenny Loggins.
That would be something, though.
That would be great. I mean, Danger Zone is a perfect name for a ride.
At 100%.
And
that's it. That's all we need. We don't even need anything else.
You could have the Footloose.
Does he do that? That's all I know by him, actually, believe it or not.
Playing with the Boys from Top Gun. That was him.
Oh, okay. I'd have to hear it, but I've seen Top Gun enough times that I'm sure I would recognize.
It's the volleyball scene. That's
all. Okay.
Yeah, see, everyone knows the volleyball scene.
Once you've seen it, how can you forget? It's amazing.
They're playing volleyball in jorts on the beach. So.
Right. And not to get on a tangent, but one year, I don't know, I was just feeling goofy, and I was like, man, screw the 25 days of Christmas. I'm going to do the 25 days of Top Gun. And I watched Top Gun every day for 25 days just for my own amusement.
I don't know that I could watch any movie 25 days in a row.
Maybe I don't think I quite made it to 25, but it was close enough. It was close
That's
enough.
that's commitment, man. All right, so Kennywood is in West Mifflin, which how far is that from Pittsburgh?
Um, it's literally where I live. It's down the street. There's like where like one of the borders are. Like I literally walk my dog in West Mifflin. But from downtown, probably about like 15 to 25 minutes, depending on which area of West Mifflin you're going through. But compared to my house, which is borderline West Mifflin, it's about 15 to 20 minutes. Yeah, it's a nice little suburb. It's pretty neat little town. I guess I should say little. It's actually a lot bigger than I realize at times. It's just oddly shaped, but yeah, it's I don't think Pittsburgh technically has it does have Sandcastle, which is owned by Kenny, which is a water park. But yeah, that's the only one in the area other than uh Idlewild, which is about an hour and a half away. But yeah, it's the closest to Pittsburgh proper.
Okay. I mean, Kennywood is so foreign to me. I know so little about Kennywood. Like I said, I thought it was a Kenny Loggins theme park for the longest time. But it's been around since 1898. It opened May 30th, 1998 as a trolley park.
Insane.
Yeah, and then in 1906, it was purchased by F.W. Henninger and Andrew McSwiggan, who renamed it Kennywood. Where did Kennywood come in?
I think it had something to do with maybe one of their nicknames. Admittedly, I don't know that much about the history. There was there is a ride that's just like a train that goes through a section of the park, just like on a loop. And as a kid, it was like the history of maybe Pittsburgh. I only know that because there were like statues of like the colonial like soldiers, and there was literally a tree that has a bullet in it from the 1700s that it would like
Wow.
point out like on the tour. But it has since been changed to like a Thomas the Tank Engine thing, and then now it has changed back to the history of Kennywood, which is actually a pretty cool like thing. Like there's like pictures of it like from the 1900s and stuff. Unfortunately, I didn't go this year. I was pretty busy, but yeah, I think it was maybe somebody's nickname. But then again, I hit my head a lot, and I just could have totally made that up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading that F.W. Henninger and Andrew McSwiggan, neither guy is named Kenny. So,
Yeah, I don't know. Now it's gonna bother me.
well, they later sold Kennywood in 2007 to Parques Reunidos, an international entertainment operator based in Spain. And then
As
actually
you
just,
do.
sure, yeah, just sell it to a international conglomerate of theme parks, I guess. But earlier this year, it was sold to Hershend, who used to own, funny enough, Dollywood,
That's amazing.
before selling their stake, obviously, to Dolly Parton. They also own, looks like Silverwood up here in Idaho, although I believe, no, you know what? That just sold to Dollywood.
Wow, Dollywood is running a monopoly now.
It's all just very incestual. They also run Dutch Wonderland out there in Lancaster. I don't know if you've been there.
No, never been there, but that makes
I've
sense.
I've heard stories of Dutch Wonderland and how it is just it's exactly what you would expect from an Amish theme park.
Wow, you know what? I didn't even think about that. I just thought that there'd be Amish people attending. Wow. I'm gonna need to look into this because that's incredible.
Yeah, I was trying to get my girlfriend's sister to talk about it on an episode, and she was like, "There's not enough to talk about."
There is a horse and buggy slide and I'm sorry, there's a horse and buggy ride and then a slide and then a butter churning feature and a petting zoo. That's about it, I would imagine.
There's a roller coaster where two guys just sit behind you and push.
Every now and then you'll see them lift up buildings and move them just for the hell of it, which I've seen videos of Amish people doing, which is actually incredible.
Well, the way they just like build a barn in a day is insane.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're not distracted with their iPods and their TikToks and stuff like that, so I guess it makes sense.
Yeah. They also own Idlewild, which you were just talking about.
Yeah. Idlewild was cool. It's been a long time since I've been there. It was kind of the best way I can explain it. It's more kid themed, where like Kennywood obviously has like roller coasters and stuff, and it does have like a quote unquote kiddie land. But I don't know, just like the vibes of Idlewild. Like there's one part in it that's like the storybook forest, and it's like all the like fairy tale stuff. And the one of the rides is like a life size Mr. Rogers trolley ride through like the storybook. No, I'm sorry, through the well, I forget the name of his town in kayfabe, but yeah, just always had like a kid vibe to it, and that's probably why I haven't gone for the longest time. But I actually was planning on going this year just because I haven't been there in so long, just to see what it's like. But yeah, I didn't get to do much amusement parking this year.
How are the water slides there?
The last time I was there was specifically for the water park. We weren't there long. Like with it, we definitely mistimed our travel. It's about an hour and a half away. And like I think the water park closed at like 7, and we got there at like 6. And then like we had to like get to the water park section. Like we had very little like swim time, but I like it. There's like I remember there's a pool, and there's one thing. It's like a giant bucket that fills up and just like dumps like a ton of water on people.
But yeah, I've
That's the
seen
only place
those.
I've ever. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It feels like something from like Nickelodeon or something. I feel like I've
Yeah.
seen something like that. Versus like we have a water park that is also like 15 minutes away. So like we never really went to the water park. We only went to that water park in Idlewild because Sandcastle, the water park near me, was like closed for the day mysteriously in the summertime, and we had a friend in from Kentucky, and we were gonna take him. We're like, well, let's go to Idlewild. But yeah, I don't really remember it that well, to be honest, unfortunately.
Okay. So Kennywood is, I mean, it's obviously got some history. It's been around since 1898. Their slogan is America's finest traditional amusement park.
I
I don't,
have never heard that. I don't know when they would ever say that.
and what makes it
I
traditional?
Well, the only thing I would guess is there's a lot of wooden roller coasters. I would, well, I'm sure there are other parks that have wooden coasters. I don't know. There's a big thing. Like I know at one point it became like a picnic park before it became an amusement park, and I suppose it was a big deal to have a big picnic area still in Kennywood to this day. So maybe that aspect of it is a tradition. Maybe more so the tradition of the area rather than I don't know if other amusement parks were previously picnic parks, but that's my guess. It's just throwing things at the wall, and I don't know.
Interesting. Well, it's one of only 2 amusement parks in the United States that are National Historic Landmarks.
That
It's
probably makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, the other one is Rye Playland in Rye, New York,
Oh, I've
which was
never heard of that.
built in 1928. So it's Kennywood's got a good 30 years on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it's more just a longevity thing, more so than anything.
Could be, yeah. I mean, depending on how long, like not only how long it's been around, but like how much it's changed. Like it
Right,
still
right.
has a lot of like the classic rides from when it opened, which is terrifying. I don't know if I want to ride a roller
Yeah, if you
coaster
think,
from
yeah. I
1928.
don't I don't know if there's anything still there from 1928. I know there's like we have we definitely have roller coasters that are up there as far as like close to 100 years old, I want to say. Um, Maybe the Jackrabbit, maybe the Racers, but I could be wrong. But it feels like that's one of the things that was like, this is one of the oldest roller coasters and whatever. So,
Okay, so I mean, here's a little. This might answer some of our questions here. There was a farm overlooking the Monongahela River.
Monongahela, yeah, that was pretty good.
Monongahela, okay. That was owned by Anthony Kenny and
Ah,
was known as Kenny's Grove and was a popular picnic
okay,
spot, like you were saying,
okay, yeah,
during the
yeah,
Civil War, actually.
okay.
And then in 1898, the Monongahela Street Railways Company bought Kenny's Grove, turned it into Kennywood.
That sounds right. That definitely sounds like something I learned or was reminded of recently in one of my YouTube recommended algorithm changes after trying to refresh my memory on some things. That sounds correct.
Yeah, and so specifically within Kennywood, we're going to be headed to a area called Lost Kennywood.
Yes.
And the description of Lost Kennywood is interesting. So it was added to the park in 1995 and references Kennywood's long history, including its short-lived rival Luna Park, which that's not the Luna Park in Brooklyn, I assume. No, there was a Luna
Oh,
Park in Pittsburgh.
I don't know. Before my
But it,
time.
yeah. Oh, 1909? That was before your time?
By at least 35 years.
But it gives the illusion of old and dangerous rides.
Maybe at one point, I
Okay.
I've never really quite understood why they call it Lost Kennywood, personally. It doesn't feel like it's in a time machine or anything like that. The only thing I can think of is like there is a archway in one of the access points that's kind of like old timey feeling that says like Lost Kennywood, and it even like says like Pittsburgh and it's spelled wrong. Like there's no H at the end, which is how it used to be spelled. But
Oh,
like
okay.
other than that, there really isn't anything. There was one ride that was there for a little while because like you figure if that opened in '95, I was born in '91, and I would be pretty restricted to the Kittyland section, especially if at that point I would have had two younger brothers. So I probably wouldn't have been really even interacting with that part of the amusement park until maybe a couple of years later. But there was one ride I knew it as a salt and pepper shaker. It was like two little cars, like on one end, like a 12 and 6 on a clock face, and then like it rotated, and then the cars itself like spun around. I don't know why it was called the salt and pepper shakers. I guess maybe because it looked like somebody dumping salt and pepper. But I feel like that had an old feel to it. I don't know how old that ride was, especially considering Lost Kennywood being added in '95. Like I just always thought it was like always there. So that'd be the only thing I could think of because nothing else there to my knowledge. I guess the whip was kind of old. But other than that, yeah, it just feels like it's part of the park. So I guess we'll just have to take their word for it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a weird marketing idea to be like, let's make rides that look old and dangerous, but aren't.
Can't really necessarily get mad at that, especially because um like the retro feel of things, like the whole even something like the different type of like what are the lights called? Like not the LED lights, but like the old tube lights. I
Hmm.
guess they have some of those there. I don't know what type of gas that is. I forget what those are called. So I guess maybe it's just they tried the vibes. But even like wooden roller coasters, those always kind of felt old to me and almost like dangerous because you could feel them shake. But
Yeah.
growing up, I've since learned to appreciate that subconscious thrill of the danger, even though I know it's safe. And like riding a roller coaster at the age of 30, 34, 35 is like, okay, I've ridden this ride my entire life. Nothing is going to happen. But then when you feel the platform shake when you're waiting, it's like, okay, this thing is really old. This may fall apart, even, just like subconsciously. So I can't necessarily get mad at that. And that would be kind of cool to go into to an amusement park that was like 1950s theme. I suppose there was a restaurant area in the park, ironically, not in Lost Kennywood, that was kind of like a 1950s feel, like diner. But like that'd be kind of cool actually to. I mean, Disney World has the one park with all the different countries. Like, what if we did a park with like different eras and vibes, like 50s,
Oh,
60s,
yeah,
70s? That'd be pretty cool. I feel like that would attract some people.
that would
And
be
then we
cool. Yeah.
have Deutschland.
So rides included in Lost Kennywood are the Black Widow, the Pittsburgh Plunge, which sounds like the name of a wrestling move.
That was Shane Douglas's finishing maneuver, and every
That's
time I
right.
hear
I
it
knew it.
in like a video, I think of that. Yeah, it's just a water ride.
Okay. What's Black Widow?
I actually rode it for the first time last year. It's kind of hard to explain. It's like a giant like you're sitting on almost like a saucer shape, and it's got like a vertical pillar, and it like the saucer spins horizontally, and the pillar pulls you like a pendulum, and at times you can be facing straight down, and it gets pretty high. But I don't know why maybe because anytime I went, it wasn't up and operational. But I feel like it's been in the park for a while, where an icon it is in the spot of an iconic ride that I'm kind of low key upset that it's gone. It was called the Pitfall. It was essentially the Tower of Terror. Like you just go straight up as like high as you can go, and then it just drops you at free fall speed. And it was you could see it from anywhere in the area. Like it's like, oh, there's a pitfall, and it was black and gold painted. It's like such a Pittsburgh themed color because all of our sports teams are black and yellow, which I learned that recently is not a common thing. I thought every city was like that, and also our city flag is black and yellow. So it just felt like, oh, the pitfall, yeah, and it's black and yellow. So I guess maybe part of it was like, they got rid of the pitfall. I'm not riding this ride. But then like when I rode it last year, I was like, this is incredible. Like I can't believe I missed out on this. This is amazing.
And so
I don't know
you
why it's
mentioned,
called the Black Widow though.
yeah, that's doesn't track with what how you're describing it, but I don't know.
I'm sorry, what were you gonna say? I cut you off.
But you mentioned the whip earlier. What is that? Because that's also in Lost
It's
Kennywood.
a Yeah, it's a like a car ride, like you're in like a little cart, and it's just like it makes like an oval shape, and it like really like whips you around the bends. That's all. Like it's like a straight shot, and then when you get to the bend, it like whips you to the other side, and like the G forces like it throws you. It's kind of like it's nothing super crazy, but it was one of those rides that like a kid can ride with their parents. Actually, the notable whip story. I want to say in like back in like 2001, 2001, I was in fifth grade and we were supposed to go to Kennywood for like a class field trip. And randomly, like 3 days before we were supposed to go, a tornado hit Pittsburgh.
Shit.
It was very faint. But in addition to that, like when everyone was focused on the infamous tornado, like it was like more so like downtown, which is also like surprising because much like the Pacific Northwest, we're in the Appalachian Mountains, so like it's not flat out here by any means. But there was also I think it was called a macro burst. I don't know what that is exactly, but it caused the roof of the whip to collapse as people were on it and somebody
Shit.
died. Yeah, yeah. Um, which is crazy to think about. And then the fact that like they still have it, like they just didn't put the roof back up, which I remember at the time I was thinking like, well, that's really weird, like to have the ride. So like, what if it rains? And now it has been without the roof longer than it has been with the roof in my life, and it just is like, oh yeah, this used to have a roof, and somebody died on this. That poor person. I feel really bad about that. But it's also weird. There's no like monument to that person. Like you think they would kind of be like
Yeah, a
in loving
plaque or
memory of,
something.
yeah, nothing. It's like, well, scrape this one off to the side, let the legal team deal with it, and hey, when we sell it to Spain, don't tell them about this, right? But
Yeah,
I
we don't want to
remember
make
being
we don't make
like,
people remember it.
right. And I took the first time my ex and I went, she's a couple years younger than me and she's not from Pittsburgh and she had no idea about the story about like the roof and the fact that it collapsed on somebody, and she's like, wow, like I would have never known, like there was nothing there that indicates in loving memory of such and such, which I suppose maybe like they probably talked to the family about it to be like, hey, do you want this? And yeah, it might be too hard, to see every time you go. When you go to an amusement park, you don't really necessarily want to be reminded of terrible things like that. So it's probably maybe there was a collaboration. Like, hey, we don't want this. But I was like, oh my god, like we're supposed to go to Kennywood like 3 days. What are we gonna do? And surely enough, we still went on the field trip. And I guess maybe they had that section blocked off. Like I remember distinctly, like my one buddy lived in West Mifflin, and like you could walk to Kennywood from his house, and I remember like there was just like branches and tree limbs all over the place in West Mifflin, and like we were like kind of going around helping people clean up, and then like And it felt like something like from a movie, like Twister. It was like, this is crazy. Like what? Like this town is destroyed, and but at least we got Kennywood. We're looking forward to in 3 days. But yeah, like I'm surprised we still went.
Yeah, that's crazy. But the main ride that we're going to talk about today, which is of course also located in Lost Kennywood, is the Exterminator. The
The best.
Exterminator opened up in
99.
thank you. Yeah,
99.
April 18th. April 18th, 1999.
I knew
Uh,
it.
as far as I know, the only theme park ride dedicated to pest control.
Yes. I think so. There might be people walking around that are actually taking care of said pests. I don't know if that's an attraction or not. If you see them, it might be a little surprise. But yeah, I think that's the only place where we have a rodent infestation, thankfully.
Yeah, it's an odd choice for a theming. The minimum
It
ride
is.
height is 46 inches, so you got to be 46 inches to ride. And if you're 46 to 59 inches, you have to have a supervising companion. So you cannot ride alone unless you are 5 feet tall.
Wow, that's really surprising. Well, I guess maybe because if I wonder if that changed because I definitely rode it in 99 and I was not 5 feet tall. But I guess maybe because I had a parent or someone with me.
Yeah, probably.
Because it's like an individual car and like four people can sit in it. So I guess if you have the adults on the in outsides and the kids in the middle, maybe it's safer that way.
Yeah, and the cars are very interesting because they are shaped like little varmints of some kind.
They are rats.
Is that what they're supposed to be?
Rats rats. Yeah, they got eyes and there's little like tails on the back that are obviously like they're not like dangling or anything, but it's like carved. And then you could even like see like their little like digits on top of where like the wheel
Yeah,
wells are. Yeah, the rats.
it's and they're a almost purple color, which is strange.
Yeah, never quite understood that. The only thing I could think of would be um there's a roller coaster in Lost Kennywood that had a bit of notoriety called the Steel Phantom, and it was just like blue and yellow, but it had like a couple flips in the 90s, and it was like very brutal on people. So instead of them tearing it down, they just revamped it and they called it the Phantom's Revenge. And there's like a mascot character of a phantom in purple, which I would imagine pays homage to the Phantom superhero. And like the car, like the train is purple. So that's the only thing I can think of is because like it's nearby. Maybe they kind of figured let's keep the purplish look. Just a theory. That's the only thing. Because yeah, I've never seen a purple rat personally.
No.
I've
Yeah, the
also
sign
never
out
seen a
front.
phantom. So
Well, that's a good point. The sign out front is like definitely reads more like a rat.
yeah, yo, it definitely is. It's really cool because also it's a dark ride too. I don't know if that kind of I don't think we've mentioned that. Yeah, it's a dark ride, and I remember like as a kid, um, well, like we would go to Kennywood every Mother's Day for whatever reason, and like my cousins and stuff would go as well, aunts and uncles, and I remember so I must have been maybe my aunt and uncle went before us, and they were telling me about like all the rats and whatever, and my we just had a genuine rat in our house and for some reason little kids lie and I was just talking about how yeah I know and when we caught the rat we let it go inside the exterminator and why I said that I don't know. It is blatantly a lie. My aunt and uncle are adults and they know I'm not telling the truth, but to their credit they played along and I guess maybe because they rode the ride and they were telling me about it, I guess I felt kind of left out that like they were giving me all this new information and I was not part of the crew, like they knew stuff that I didn't. So I was like, well, actually, that rat that we found in the basement, we let him go. Which um and it's funny because I talk about this every now and then with my brother because we work at the same place and we carpool, but for some reason I affiliate the Exterminator ride to like the X-Files, like that feel to it, like spooky, but not quite scary. And even as a kid, I got that vibe. And I would watch the X-Files for like maybe like 3 minutes. I'd be like, all right, too scary. And but like I don't know, there's just something about it. Like it just feels like there's just a mystery behind it. And we were trying to figure out why that is. And I think maybe it's because it is a dark ride. It is completely enclosed. Like you don't see it at all. It feels like a mystery. So probably whenever we were told about it, it felt like some sort of like urban legend thing. And like without getting into spoilers, some of the things that go on in there, it's like, oh my God, like there's no way that's real. It's not real. There's no way you're lying to me now, right? Um, that's the only thing I could think of is like that kind of like urban legend, like that kid that always got to like Ermac on Mortal Kombat that like, yeah, I really got to there and like you can't prove it. So you like your mind wanders. But then when we finally got to the park and saw that it was like completely enclosed, it's like, oh my God, anything could be happening in there. But that's I went on a tangent. I apologize.
No, no, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, just the looking at the entrance, it's like in a hill, and so
Yeah.
does it go underground?
So first of all, really deceiving ride. So you get in line and it's like the queue is like outside and then there's that like opening which is essentially like maybe like a cement like tunnel like
Yeah,
thing you would see like in real life like out in the you know in the wild. um and then like you go in and then it's like you descend like on a slope and it's just like concrete walls, concrete ceiling, and like maybe pipes and stuff from what I remember. And then when you finally get to the end of the tunnel, you cut a left and you think, cool, I'm gonna get on the ride. Nope, there is another queue to wait in line, and like it's just like horizontally, like you go in line and it goes to the left, then you go to the right. But it's weird because it like inclines each time, so you go down in the tunnel to go up inside the queue. But it's really cool because like that second part of the queue, which okay, let me backtrack again. I apologize. The first couple years, and I guess even recently, yeah, because I haven't rode in a while, the line would be so long that like you would get into the tunnel and it would still be a line to get into that second queue. Like it wasn't like they broke it up. It wasn't like when you got to that second queue, there was nobody in there. Like it was just a single line that whole time. And like I remember there would be wait times that were like 2 hours long. But like the first time you go, you think like, oh, line isn't long at all, and then you're like, oh, wait a second, I got catfished. Um, but it's really cool because like that second part of the queue, it's like themed. It has like a gimmick to it. You're in like there's like control panels all along the top wall, and there's like knobs and gadgets and stuff like that, and big like metal, I guess it'd be like part of like the machinery of whatever this warehouse room is supposed to be. There were like not LED TVs, those RCA TVs on top of them, and they were playing a faux news broadcast of Kennyville. And it'd be like, okay, now we have a big catastrophe going on in Kennyville. What's going on? And then it would like cut to like an exterminator, and he would be like going into this dark tunnel, and then like it would cut up and like static, like, oh no, there's too many of them. And it was like really chaotic. It was like such a vibe, and I've never seen that before. Nowadays, you go to Disney World and like the queue and like Galaxy's Edge is all themed and everything like
yeah,
that. But I've never seen that before, and it was the only ride I think even to this day at Kennywood that is like that. That really like you get this whole like gimmick hammered home until like even up until you get onto the ride. Really cool. Which I'm glad they did that because it made it less miserable waiting in that 2 hour line from that point. And there were also like yellow lights that were like alarm lights, like you'd see on a police car hanging from the ceiling. And at one point they put in like a buzzer thing, like a button that it wouldn't go off every time. Like I don't know if it was even like connected, but like people would press it and nothing would happen. They'd press it, nothing would happen. And finally when you get to your turn, you'd go to press it and you'd wait. Nothing would happen. Then the person behind you would press it, then it would set off this alarm that was like super, super loud and like really like annoying that like you hear it like probably like 50 times by the time you finally get to it. It's like, okay, I'm over this, but like the thrill of like, is it gonna go off when I press it? I don't know if they still have that. But yeah, it was just like it was a really cool ambiance, I guess you can say.
Yeah, it's it's funny. I watched a couple of videos of the ride, and one of them I saw they showed like the whole uh, video, the Kennyville video,
Oh
and
yeah,
I did notice they showed a map, and there was a big red section that said "Danger Zone," and I was like, "Boom!"
yeah. That's tremendous. I would have never put that together. That's good.
But it's funny when you first enter this tunnel, like there's all these signs that says "Tunnel closed," "No access," "Danger," "Do not enter," and it's just like it doesn't feel like you should be getting on this ride.
Right, and I think that probably really helped the overall spooky feeling to it. It felt like we were not supposed to be doing what we were doing. It's like we are going behind the scenes of a danger zone. Like we don't have the clearance for this. Like I'm not forklift certified. Um, yeah, it's a really cool theme. Like I really am struggling to think if there's any other thing like that in Kennywood, and I don't think there is. It's just like they almost were like, hey, you know what? We're going to spend a ton of money on this. May as well go all out and make people think that this is legit. I remember at one point there was even like a giant like pest control car, like a big like box truck parked outside in front of it that had like a rat with like the Ghostbusters logo, like circle with a line through it,
Oh yeah,
and it had like emergency lights on top, just like parked out there, like just taking up space, but it's just like, hey, let's go all in. I don't know if they still have that. I don't think they do.
yeah. I didn't see it in any of the videos that I watched, and it's funny because this, when you first enter, this just this long tunnel, and it's themed in a way that it doesn't look themed at all because it's just
Right.
concrete, but there's like
Right.
pipes running along the roof, and there's just like single overhead lights every couple feet, and so it's like that is the theme. It doesn't look themed; it
Yeah.
looks very industrial, but that is the theme.
Yeah. It's super, super bizarre. And then like, especially because like when you wait outside in the queue for maybe like a half hour and you get that juxtaposition of, okay, this is super unlike anything else in the park. We must be getting on the ride as soon as we get to the end of this tunnel, and only to get catfished is tremendous. But yeah, there's like no posters or anything. There's no advertisements for Pepsi. There's nothing. It's just cement.
Yeah, there's. I mean, if there's any signs in there at all, like I said, they say like "Danger, do not enter," and it's just
Right, right. All within the gimmick.
yeah. And then, like you said, you get to the end, and there's just this industrial warehouse area with all these different kinds of machinery and pipes and uh, dials and all kinds of stuff that probably does nothing.
Schematics and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think they lit up at one point. I just pulled up the video that I sent you earlier just to kind of refresh my memory that I could glance up at. And I definitely think that the knobs and the gadgets and everything lit up as if it was a genuine like pressure valve or whatever the actual term would be. But yeah, it's just like they didn't need to do that. And because like I don't believe that building was there before the ride. Like it wasn't like they were like, okay, well, we got this wall, let's put something there. Like they put that there. It's like that's so
mm.
cool.
Yeah, it wasn't like they converted an old warehouse or something. Like they
Right,
built
right,
all
right.
this stuff
Yeah.
to be of some kind of factory. I don't know what it's supposed to be a factory for. Just
Yeah, I don't know what the lore is behind the why there's a giant factory warehouse in Kennywood, but I mean, suspension of disbelief.
yeah. And I guess the thing we haven't mentioned yet is that this is actually a spinning roller coaster.
Yes. Yeah, it which I think that's probably why you had to have the adults, like probably on the outside and everything. But it doesn't spin right away. There is a moment in the ride, in the overall story, I guess you can say, where it triggers it, and then you spin on the track. But it doesn't spin uncontrollably. It's like you can like shift your weight to make it spin, or you could like counter it to prevent the spinning. It's like it's essentially just like it's doing its own thing. So which I think is really cool. Like it's not like programmed. Like control spin rather. It's just completely momentum based, which is really cool.
Yeah, there's two different kinds of spinning roller coasters, and like you said, there's basically the ones that they spin at specific times, like Guardians of the Galaxy in Disney World. It spins to make you look at something. It's like, oh, you need to look at this
Okay, yeah,
screen
yeah, yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah. Right.
And then there's ones like this, and there's also one in Knott's Berry Farm in California that I don't remember the name of right now. But yeah, it's just like kind of your momentum and you kind of shifting, and the shape of the track and stuff that kind of makes the car spin. And from watching these videos, this looks like it's a Wild Mouse coaster. Like, it's not big giant drops and everything. It's a lot of just kind of
No,
level and like hard turns. And
there is one drop, and actually now I'm curious because like it definitely needs a refurbishing. The fact that this has been in the park since '99, you figure they probably started building it in '98, and it's 2025 now. I don't know, quick math. I don't know how long it's been. So a lot of the animatronics aren't working. Yeah, okay. So in the video, we just passed the first animatronic and it didn't move. But like, there's as you ascend the first hill, there's a guy, an exterminator guy, like a biohazard exterminator, and he like has like a some sort of like nozzle gun thing. Like if I say gun, you're gonna think like actual gun, but like it looked like a spray of some sort of thing,
it looks like
chemical
the
thing.
Ghostbusters proton
Yeah,
pack.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Like he like would like lower his arm and like aim it at you as you pass by, and then like a voiceover thing would cut in. He's like, "They're coming in now," and then like as like you, a light would illuminate it so you could see it as you pass by. But there's I'm sure in this video the big thing, the urban legend, probably isn't in it, but at one point there's like you see like a big like rat statue in like an electrical box, and he's like biting the wires and it's like sparking. Okay, so I'm vamping right now to see because I believe the part might be coming up. Yeah, okay, danger. Okay, yes, it is definitely not in this video. There's like a thing that says like danger, boiler room, or whatever, and like you make like a left turn, and then the first drop happens. There's a box above you, and originally a gigantic rat looking arm came down, and you just barely ducked underneath it. It was the coolest thing. So
cool.
when my aunt and uncle told me about this giant rat hand that's probably like 12 feet long, I'm like, there's no way. And especially because like all of the other rat like props or whatever are kind of like dog size, but this rat ant was like super comedically big that it was like so scary as a kid because you don't know because it's not totally dark, but it is a dark ride. So you at this point don't make any like you don't go down any hills. So you just think it's just like a flat ride, right? So you see this rat hand coming down in your line of vision, and you have no reason to think it's going to drop. So you're like, oh my God, we're going to crash. And then you drop down this hill. It was such a thrill as a kid. Like it was so cool. It's such a diversion of expectations. And also kind of really fit in with the theme of like the chaos of like this story of like this danger zone. And you're progressively seeing these rats get bigger and bigger throughout the ride, and you see this gigantic hand. But it's also funny too because I don't quite understand if we're supposed to be the rats as well, like with the rat cars. Like I've always
Yeah.
wondered that. Like, what's the immersion there? And that's I guess it's the only thing I think of would be why the animatronic would like aim at us. But then like if we are the rats, then why did the giant rat arm try to grab us? Like, come on, guys, you're taking me out of this.
Is he trying to save you?
Right? Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. There's not much consistency with the story, Mr. Wood.
Yeah, it's I actually didn't realize that these were animatronics in the ride, and all the videos I've seen they're not moving or doing anything. So I thought it was just kind of statues.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, you figure in its heyday, 1999. they would have had the big shoulder cameras back then, and I doubt anybody was taking one of those on this ride. So it's almost like a sense of like lost media in a way. I I doubt I would be able to ever figure out how we could track down a tape if there is one, if somebody like to show like it in its glory. Um, especially, I mean, like it might exist on somebody's like family vacation video in a basement in Pittsburgh. But yeah, it is unfortunate that it's not quite as great as it used to be, but the thing is, it is still a pretty fun ride in general. Like the actual like dynamics and like the hills and the twists and there's a moment in the I remember like as a kid we tried to figure out when does the spinning start because we were just trying to take it all in and it's like, well, when does the spinning start? And we'd always try to pay attention, and then by the time you got out of it, you forgot when it started. But there's like a section in it in the ride where you're like approaching a wall and it has like a mirror and it looks like you're gonna go straight into the mirror. So then you make a last second 90-degree turn, that's when you start spinning. So it's like, whoa, like a last minute spin thing, and then you're going up and down these small hills spinning. It's just like even if you take away all the rat stuff, like it's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it was just so much better back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine, like you said, it's definitely in need of a refurbishment because at least getting the animatronics moving again would be a huge perk.
Yeah, I couldn't even guess how long it's been since the giant rat arm was visible. I think at one point it was like just always down, like it wasn't like a last minute thing, and then I guess they took it out for whatever reason. But I would imagine it probably still exists somewhere unless it got like flooded or whatever, because that's our normal natural disasters, not tornadoes or macro bursts, but we get flooding often with our three rivers. So hopefully if they do, like I'm always worried about them because I'm sorry to I have ADHD. I apologize, I'm bouncing around.
No, you're good. You're good.
um I I did ride it last year, and my ex sent me a video on TikTok of some dude in a part of the queue for the ride, like doing a stupid little dance. And she was like, "Look at this," and I was like, that's the Exterminator, right? She's like, "No, it isn't." I'm like, "Yeah, it's like where all the machinery is in the beginning." And then I was like, "Oh no, like I hope they're not like getting rid of it." And then when we finally went, we got into that queue, and all those knobs and whatever, they're all gone. And I was like, "Oh my god, like I wonder if they're taking this ride down." And then I saw on Reddit someone said that like there's talks of them getting rid of it. So I was
Wow.
like kind of like I was really upset about, like I should say really upset, but I was telling her like you better take this all in because this might be the last time we ever get to ride this.
Yeah.
And as we got in the car, I was like, "Hey, where'd all those knobs and everything go?" They're like, "Oh, we got rid of them because we're gonna do a fast pass thing." So I'm like, "Okay, good. At least you're not getting rid of it." But like, that's capitalism for us, right? If we can sell a fast
Yeah.
pass, we're gonna do it. But I actually completely forgot. I do have two short stories about that queue and how long that line was. One time, I want to say it was like probably like 2001. I went with my buddy's family, and it would have been like a 2 hour wait. And literally, as his mom is getting in the car for the ride, it broke down.
Oh
We waited 2 hours
my
and we're
God.
finally getting on just to be helped back off. And like, there's nothing you could do about it. Like, anytime a ride breaks down, somebody is getting on it, right? It wasn't like we were special. It just so happened we had waited 2 hours in the longest ride at Kennywood. And then another time I went in like 2010. It was like me, my buddy, my brother, maybe one other friend, and we're in like the section with all the knobs. And this dude had this crazy, like fuzzy, like Perry Saturn hat, like a crazy top hats, like only Perry Saturn and weird pickup artists and magicians wear. I was like, what in the world? Where did this guy get this hat? And like at one point we passed him, and I was like, yo, where'd you get that hat? And he's like, oh, I won it in one of the things. I was like, oh, great, we're gonna have to go and steal one. And then like that was that, right? And then like the next time we passed him, I guess he thought we were friends because he was like, yo, let me chip you guys. And I was like, no. And then he got like so unbelievably mad. He was like, man, I don't need you guys. Man, I'll jump in front of you myself. I don't need you. Man, I'll kick all your ass. And I was just like, oh
What
my
is
God, is
happening?
this guy doing a bit right now? Like, what is going on? Like, it was comedically bad. Like, you would have thought we insulted his, like, parents and, like, murdered them. Like, it was insane. And, like, we just kind of, like, looked at each other. Because then, like, we had to interact with him, like, 3 more times because of how the line went. And it was super uncomfortable. We're like, this guy's a psycho. So then by the time we got into the ride, I was like, yo, that one guy with that hat in line was like threatening us. And like the dude who was like controlling like the buttons or whatever just immediately picks up the phone and he's like, okay, we'll get on it. And then by the time we got off the ride, there was like a security guard there. And he was just like, okay, just wait here. And I was like, oh my God, this is so weird. Like, I feel like we are like gonna get in trouble for like letting them know that this guy's unhinged. But I was like, no, really, officer, it's the only guy with this crazy hat. And
You'll know him when you see
then
him.
like, yeah, right. It was so bizarre. And then like nothing really happened. Some woman actually like jumped in who was not affiliated with him in any way. She was just like, they were actually harassing him. We were like, who the hell are you? Like, what? Like, you weren't even with this guy. And then like the security guard, I guess he was like, all right, well, there's like 4 of you guys and like one of him. He's with a girl. He's just like peacocking, just like go about your day. And it was like maybe like 2 o'clock in the day, and like the park closes at like 10, and we kept seeing him throughout the park. It was so uncomfortable because he was the only dude with this hat. It was like there is no doubt about this. It is that guy. It was like that is just a core memory I have because I cannot express enough how over the top this guy was reacting because we weren't letting him cut in line. It was insane. Like if we asked him if we could cut in line, sure, maybe, but like, but sorry for that tangent. I just remembered that. It was just so bizarre. The fact that that happened in 2010 and I remember it clear as day shows how much of an impression it made on me. It was almost like a Tim and Eric bit. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's funny that video you sent me. There's no line, and it's clearly this guy and his kid, and he's the whole time he's just like, I remember when these lines went all the way out the door, and then like every time they walk past something, he's like, I remember when this used to be this and that used to be this, and
it's super weird because it was like that. Like for the past, like for the first 3 years, it was like a long line, and then it went like pretty chill. Like you can get on it pretty quickly. And then I don't know what happened, but recently it has just like exploded with popularity again, which is weird because half the stuff doesn't even work on it. So I don't know like why it's unless unless they're like really trying to keep the queue outside of the tunnel and like wait, like instead of it being like a 2 hour long wait, they figure, okay, well, we'll just wait until this is an hour, then send everyone in rather than a constant flow. But the past couple times I've gone, it has been over an hour long wait, and I'm just like, I'm not doing it. So maybe I could have like just toughed out the hour long wait. But even like most of the other rides, they're not that long of a wait. So I don't know. Very strange. But yeah, it was I missed the days of A, when everything was working, and B, whenever the lines were non-existent.
well, yeah, you probably aren't going to get both of those things at the same time very often.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, the ride itself, it looks like it's a lot of fun. It looks, I mean, it says top speed of 29 miles per hour, which isn't super fast, but if like for a wild mouse coaster, that's pretty quick. And like I said, you do a lot of hard turns and stuff. And
Yeah,
so,
especially when you're spinning. Yeah, it can be pretty quick. And then another thing, we have we do. It's called a Phantom Fright Night. Like they turn some of the like pavilions and the arcades in the park into haunted houses, and some of the rides they kind of I don't want to say totally revamp, but like we have a dark ride that's a walkthrough like Noah's Ark ride, and they like put in black lights and everything is like cosmic-y, which is different from how it normally is. But the Exterminator, the gimmick they do with that is you spin from the very get-go and you spin the entire ride.
Oh.
And I learned on Reddit somehow, I don't know what the topic was, but someone was like, yeah, you can just ask the employees to make you spin the entire time. And I went, all right, I'm gonna remember that. And then when I went, I as I sat down, I was like, hey, can we spin the entire time? And they were like, yeah. And they just like clicked a lever. And I guess it has something to do with like something it's almost like a lock. And then as it goes to that part where it makes that quick 90-degree turn, it must hook that lock and like unlock it, and then it spins the entire time. So I guess it's just like a manual release thing, which is really interesting. Needless to say, my crew that I was with at the time, the 3 other people, were not too happy that I asked them to do that, spinning the entire time. But I didn't do that again. I was like, all right, well, yeah, I guess the rumor is true. You can do that. Validated. Myth confirmed.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the animatronics are definitely, like I said, they look like a statue most of the time. There's a couple things that are still kind of working. There's like an electrical, I don't know what that thing is called, just a bunch of big, electrical pipe things.
Oh yeah, like almost like a almost like a spark
coil
plug
or
thing.
something. Yeah,
yeah.
And it shoots sparks.
I don't know why that's in there. Like in kayfabe,
I don't know why a lot of this stuff is in there.
But like at least like some of the like the circuit breaker box that are sparking is like, okay, you put a rat prop in there. It's like, cool, rat is in a place where it's not supposed to be. It's biting wires in this warehouse that should just be a warehouse. Why is there a gigantic Tesla coil? Like that seems like an OSHA violation.
What is this big like oven looking thing?
Oh yeah, the boiler room. Yeah. I guess maybe it's supposed to be a steel mill, because Pittsburgh was known.
Oh, that would make sense
for the steel mills. Maybe it's not supposed to be a warehouse. I think you and I may have just come to that moment together, and I'm really glad that happened. Something that has been in my life for 20, 30 plus years. I just had this realization that it might be a steel mill.
That makes a lot of sense, and I bet you're right.
But if I'm not, I'm going to be really upset now that I just embarrassed myself on screen.
Yeah, because there's no workers or anything inside other
just
than
the exterminators.
Yeah, who, going back to your thing about it having this creepy vibe, it's like the look of the exterminators is very kind of like, it's almost like a hazmat suit.
Yeah, it's insane.
And so you can't see what their faces look like. You can't see any part of them. And it's almost like, like the George Romero movie, the Crazies, or like Chernobyl. Yeah,
I've never seen that.
You should watch the remake. Actually, the remake is better than the original.
Okay. Oh, interesting. That doesn't happen often.
No, it does not, especially with a George Romero movie. But
especially George Romero being a Pittsburgh guy.
There you go. It's all coming together now.
It's all connected. It's all
full circle.
It is a George Romero project. A concept ride is now my headcanon.
I would love to see a Living Dead theme park. That could be really
That'd be
cool.
Pretty cool. They're actually, not to get on a tangent, they're actually tearing down the mall that
the
Monroeville Mall. Yeah. I don't know when they're tearing it down. There is actually like a little museum in there that anytime I've gone to that mall, because that mall is roughly like a half hour away. Anytime I've gone to that mall, that museum has never been up. It has never been open.
Really?
It is the strangest hours. And like my buddies and I would go every now and then, like in high school, like just like for something to do, even though like malls were still dying at this point. Like the Monroeville Mall being a half hour away versus the other one, which is pretty close to us. It always felt like an event. Like, do you want to go to the mall? Which one? Monroeville Mall. Yeah, let's go. Like it had the same stores, but other than that museum thing, and just like it has never been a thing. And it's like I probably should check that out before they tear it down.
Yeah. So if you're going to Kennywood, obviously the appeal is going to be the bigger, newer roller coasters, but don't skip out on the Exterminator.
Definitely not. And it's funny because as a kid, I always thought like, oh, this amusement park needs a lot more roller coasters. And it's since selling it to the company in Spain, it kind of lost its charm of it being like a family park, and now it is slowly becoming a roller coaster park. Um, it's got the Skyrocket, that was in 2010, and then there's the Racer, the Jackrabbit, the Steel Curtain, which is the newest one, which is incredible, incredible, incredible roller coaster. Like you start at like a 45-degree angle, just going straight up. All you see is sky, and it's based on the Steelers, and our like fight song is Renegade by Styx, and like you hear it playing as you're ascending, and like as that screeching scream in that song hits, like that's when you start going. It's the buildup is so good. Then there's the Thunderbolt, then the Phantom's Revenge, and I guess technically the Exterminator. Like it is slowly becoming a roller coaster park. But even like three of them being wooden coasters, like they're covered in lights at nighttime. Like it's really cool, really, really good feeling. Like it still has some of that family feel to it. But yeah, definitely ride them all. Ride everything. Like there isn't anything there that you'll be like, well, I really wasted my time on that, unless the line for the Exterminator is 2 hours long.
Yeah, and it breaks down.
Then you may want to. Yeah, I'll never forget that. Never forget that. Because, like I said, there was nothing we could do. It wasn't like they could like comp us, like, oh, jump to the next part of the line. Because like then the people behind us, they also waited 2 hours, and the people behind them, they probably waited an hour and 59 minutes. Like, it's just like, where would it end? You know?
Yeah, me and my buddy had the same thing happen. We hadn't gotten on yet, but we were the next in line to get on Web Slingers at Disneyland, and it was like, nope, this one's going with no people. We're like, what?
That's a bummer. There was one time, the Phantom Revenge ride. It's at the very, very top of the hill. The like ride stopped, and we were on it. And I remember it was me, my buddy's dad, and our other friend in front of us. And it's like I don't know how high it is. I don't want to undersell it, but it is really, really, really high. And it stopped right before dropping. And like, it's like, what do we do? And I remember turning around and seeing this employee, poor guy, probably like a 16-year-old kid, right? But as a kid, he looked like a grown man, like hugging the railing because there's steps that go up, like hugging the railing, slowly making his way to the top, and then like reached over and like hit something. And then we went through. And then like, as we got into the station, like he was still coming down. Like,
oh my God.
that's probably the highlight of as far as like ride breakdown, because like it was really cool view. Like you're only really up there when you're riding the ride proper for like at that very tip point for like 3 seconds. So to be up there for what felt like an eternity, and then like my buddy's talking to my friend's dad, he's like, well, what happens if it falls backwards? Like, what do we do? And then like I could tell my friend's dad was getting really annoyed with him about how much this kid's worrying. But yeah, I feel so bad for that 16-year-old kid. Like he was scared.
Yeah.
If he fell, it would have been 100% death. Like there was no question about it. And he didn't have like a tether or anything.
I don't think I've told this story on the podcast before, but we went to Disneyland Paris, and they have a ride called Crush's Coaster where you sit back to back.
Okay.
And so it's a spinning coaster, but we got to the top of this hill and it just stopped. And we were looking down the hill we just came from. And I'm like, I think it's going to go back down. We're going to go that way now. But we just sat there for a while, and I was like, no, we're not going anywhere. This is broken.
That's pretty cool though, because like that is like a thing that not many people get to experience.
Yeah, I've never gotten to walk off a ride, but
yeah, me neither. That I was actually kind of hoping that's how it would be, because like being a shit little 15, not 15, maybe like a 10-year-old kid, and like how invincible I am, like there's no risk behind it. Like, oh, this is cool. I'd be like skipping down, like not realizing the absolute genuine danger. But yeah, needless to say, that didn't happen. How did they send it through? Like, how did they?
Eventually, yeah, it just
Did you
started
walk
again.
off?
I don't know. No,
Oh, okay.
it started up again, and we kind of crested the hill and started going the same way we were going. We didn't go backwards.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's definitely I much prefer getting stuck on a roller coaster rather than getting on the Exterminator and having to get out of line like that. Though, in the grand scheme of things, we got two cool stories out of it.
It's true. All right. Well, before we head out, do you want to go ahead and plug anything? Let people know where they can follow you on social media or anything like that?
Yeah, my social media username is the same everywhere. It is X Shawn X Phoenix, X before Shawn, SHAWN, X before Phoenix. So in total there's like 3 X's because I'm straight edge, but the third X is actually the X in Phoenix, which I think is pretty clever. That's genuinely, like, even if there's an app that I don't intend to ever use, like, I grab my username and squat on it just because I don't want somebody to take it and post like terrible things and confuse me.
Yeah.
Like, why is he saying all this? But yeah, genuinely on everything, and I'm on social media a lot more than I should be. If anybody listening to this is coming to Kennywood, feel free to hit me up, and we'll collab and do something for sure, even if I don't know you.
Right on. That's
And that
cool.
goes for you too. That goes for you too, sir.
Yeah, I don't know
Obviously.
when, I may be in Pennsylvania soon, so I probably won't be headed to that side of the state, but you never know.
Right. Yeah. Well, either way, even like 30 years from now, the offer will always stand.
Cool. Right on. Yeah. I'll definitely try to do that next time I'm out there.
Good.
All right. Well, thanks for doing this. You're welcome back anytime. We can do more Kennywood or anything else.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to take you up on that. In fact, well, let me go to the park first, and then I'll touch base, be like, all right, took notes and everything.
Yeah. Cool. Right on. Well, thank you at home for listening, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Your attention, please. This episode of Wild Mouse has concluded. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcast player, and follow us on social media at Wild Mouse Podcast. Don't forget to visit the gift shop at wildmousepodcast.com. For exclusive bonus content, become a premium pass holder at patreon.com/wildmousepodcast. We hope you enjoyed your time and will visit us again soon. Thank you and good night.